Happy Black History Month. Maybe thinking, why is this white girl talking about Black History Month like not your month? But it is my month because I'm actually
fourth day of Black History Month, y'all, and I'm already pissed. Let's talk about this article. This is from Bloomberg, y'all. It will take Black Americans 320 years to catch up to white neighbors.
Now, Black History Month is a time to honor and to celebrate the contributions, the resilience, as well as the accomplishments of not only Black Americans, but just Black people in history.
Now, it's an honor to our ancestors as Black people to remember what they went through in America and how they still persevered and accomplished so many amazing things while being held back, being treated unfairly, unable to read or write, and given unfair resources.
Now, February was chosen because it coincided with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And today it serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding and appreciating the roles of Black individuals in shaping history.
Therefore, Black History Month this month will not be 28 days. It will be all of February and half of March, whether they like it or not. There is not enough time. 28 days is not enough days to process the pain in which they inflicted. Now, nobody I am leading Black History Month, whether they like it or not. I am the most outspoken and blunt person on this app when it comes to Black history.
See, when survival becomes the only desire, there's a version of you that you invent in order to protect who you truly
don't need no explanation. It actually should be gate kept. I think a lot of our culture should be kept close to us because, you know, white people, they keep whatever they want to keep close to them is kept very close to them. There's a lot of shit that's kept away from us. And I feel like we should.
And that's why the Black curriculum is pushing for Black history to be taught in the national curriculum for all students, irrespective of their race or ethnicity.
Entire month. By 1976, President Gerald Ford recognizes Black history as a month, urging Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history.
It highlights how you can go from being made fun of on TV to winning awards on TV.
You may be thinking, why isn't there a History Month for other races and ethnicities? Well, there is an East and Southeast Asian Heritage Month, but they're perhaps not as widely known as Black History Month. And when it comes to
we have been told that we were too inferior, that we had nothing to offer. And history will show that that's a complete lie.
I appreciate your watching, folks. Black History Month reflects on the crucial contributions, on the struggles and triumphs of the Black diaspora, honoring figures, from the era of slavery to present day. It exists to spotlight histories that, were long overlooked, confront systemic racism and recognize the resilience, the culture and the achievements of Black people across every field. And these fields, as you may know, are quite numerous. What many people don't realize is that Black History Month began in the year 1926, when the historian Carter G. Woodson established what was then called the Negro History Week, observed during the first week of February. Over time, that initiative evolved, and by the 1970s, it became what we know the Black History Month. In this video, I'll start by sharing a few clips from different creators reacting to this topic. After that, as usual, I'll be chiming in with my full commentaries. Full credit for the clips belongs to their original creators. And as a side note, throughout this month of February, I'll be focusing on content centered around this year's Black History Month theme, a century of Black history commemorations. If you're interested in grounded, thoughtful Black American content, not just for February but beyond, consider subscribing as we push towards the 1,000 subscriber milestone this month. So I'll see you guys at the very end of this video with my own full commentaries. See you then.
Black History Month is every month. They just happen to give us the shortest month of the year, but Black History Month is all 12 months for me. We celebrate Black excellence every single day of the year, 365 days, and go around my household and around the group of people I'm around. So, I love the fact that we get to celebrate it for a full month, and people, that may not know about it kind of come together and things. But at the end of the day, I celebrate Black excellence every single day, and Black History Month, I would say, is Black History Day. 365 days of the year, 66 on the leap year. So that's just how we rock around here, and but it's cool to get it started now, and we'll just keep it going throughout the rest of the year.
First up, a big shout out to Carter G. Woodson, relentless about education, intent on passing along gems, a bunch of truths about black life, often erased. In 1926, he launched a week of history. That was a century ago, 100 years. Why? Well, the achievements of African Americans were routinely ignored. Woodson is known as the father of black history. Appropriate, obviously. Fast forward 50 years, 1976, the celebration expands. A week becomes a month. February, we know that. Full circle moment, though, from conversations on someone's porch to a week, then decades later, a month, and looking ahead, maybe 365. It is our history, because we carry ourselves wherever we go.
It's Black History Month, which means that it's been about a year since we all vowed that we would talk about Black history year-round and not just in February. So what can we do to commemorate Black History Month this year? I've very helpfully broken this down into a few steps for you. You're welcome. Step 1. Learn about key figures from the past that we've already talked about ad nauseum. Sojourner Truth was born into slavery in the late 1700s. She was both an abolitionist as well as a women's rights advocate, and she is best known for her Ain't I a Woman speech, where she pushed back against men who said that women were too delicate to have the same rights as men, saying that she hadn't been treated differently because she was a woman and that she had the strength of a man and was worked as a man during her time as a slave. Step 2. Discover something new about those key figures. Did you know that Sojourner Truth did not necessarily ever utter the words, "Ain't I a woman"? Her speech as we know it was actually written down about 12 years after when she originally gave it and may have been different from how she said it. We know this because there is an article that was written much sooner after she had given the speech that never uses the words "Ain't I a woman" at all, or that phrasing. Step 3. Tie that to modern day black oppression. Who decided that she said "ain't I a woman" and created the speech in that way? Even though she was a northerner, so I don't know why she would be saying ain't. Not that I know about the vernacular of the 1700s. But the people who wrote down this speech and talked about it later were all white people. This is something that still persists in our history books today with the same speech. What does this tell us? It tells us that white people get to decide the perception that we have of the way that black people might present. We haven't gone back to the originally written down words of Sojourner Truth, despite the fact that those are probably more accurate given that they were written down much sooner than the Ain't I a Woman speech. Step 4. Present a mind-blowing take on what this could mean. In my opinion, Sojourner Truth was really the first person to take a hard look at intersectionality. As a former slave and a black woman who was both an abolitionist as well as a women's rights advocate, she really put these two things together. And in this speech, no matter how she said it, she really did present the information about how her multiple identities created additional issues as opposed to the same amount of issues that she would have as either a woman or a black person. What do you think, Kimberly Crenshaw? And finally, step 5. Vow to talk about Black history throughout the year. I'll either do more posts or, more likely, see you next year.
Black History Month. Let's start from the beginning and find out who created it. Well, a black man born in the US in 1875 named Carter G. Woodson studied history throughout his life, and he worked hard to promote black history in schools. He then created Black History Week, which then turned into a whole month. It was originally founded to recognize the contributions of people from African and Caribbean backgrounds. In the United States, it's in February, but in the UK, it's in October. And you may be thinking, why isn't there a History Month for other races and ethnicities? Well, there is an East and Southeast Asian Heritage Month, but they're perhaps not as widely known as Black History Month. And when it comes to other races, while they don't all have an official History Month that's been formally recognized, they do celebrate their history in lots of other ways. So, why is Black History Month important? Let me explain. Black people have lived in the UK for hundreds of years and play a key part in British history. However, some people believe that their stories have not always been told and can often be overlooked. Many campaigners want schools to include more Black history in lessons, so Black History Month is a time to celebrate those people and their stories. So, now we know who created it and why, but how do people celebrate it? There's a few, so I need a deep breath. School fairs, learning about Black history, awards, TV shows, reading books by Black authors, cooking events, supporting Black businesses, attending Black history events, donating to charities, and many, many more. Now you're all set, but don't mind me. I just need to go and catch my breath.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, one of the dynamic speakers on the SSA speaker team, and I'm just tapping in to say happy Black History Month. Black history to me means a time to celebrate the richness, the groove, the beauty of Black culture, to reflect on the contributions that Black people have made throughout all of history, right? It's our chance to honor those who have paved the way for social change, but to also focus on the now, to focus on how far we've come. We get to look toward the future and celebrate the triumphs, the resilience, and the cultural richness of the Black community. So let's continue to uplift those voices and those stories every single day. Happy Black History Month.
Black History Month. What does that mean to you guys?
Excuse me?
Black History Month.
We need a longer month.
Black History Month? We need the whole year.
We need a longer
Black History
month.
Year. How about Black History Year for 1 year?
Did you get Black History in school?
No.
Where did you get it?
I didn't get it in my school. I was taught it by my parents and my grandmother.
First of all, the Black History Month thing is frustrating because I don't know if anybody else is like this, but in my household, we talked about Black History Month every month. We didn't wait till February. Oh, yeah. That's the house I grew up in. My mom was like, I didn't go, man, I have a fun fact about Nina Simone, but damn it, it's November. I didn't do that. So I'd really love to tell you about Mae Jemison, but it's already March. So people who talk about Black history don't care about whether or not the country declares this Black History Month or not. And I mean, you know, we both are on the board of Donors Choose, helping teachers raise money for classes. Yeah. I don't see you at the meetings. Why don't you show up to the meetings, Steve?
Yeah, because I have private meetings.
Okay, good.
Yes.
But like, you know, Donors Choose, like teachers who are teaching Black History Month need to be empowered to do that. And that's why I work with Donors Choose. And we can't, and they're not going to not teach it because Trump says anything. The sad part is the people who need Black history the most are the ones who are tearing apart DEI because they don't know anything about Black history. And let's be clear, Black history, quiet as it's kept, is American history. It is not a separate function of history.
Tell us what Black History Month means to you.
Black History Month to me as a person is a way for us as Black people to express our African American heritage and our accomplishments.
For me, is a way to celebrate Black people and their obviously history and their culture, I guess, too.
History Month is a month where we can celebrate like Black culture, Black history, especially in North America. Like there's been a long history of Black oppression and stuff like that. So being able to remember our history and know where we come from, what we stand for as a people is really important.
Black History Month means we can celebrate the great successes that Black people have had on our communities throughout history.
It's kind of a celebration of the great things that Black people have done throughout history and the obstacles they've had to overcome.
Celebrating the life and the culture of Black people everywhere during the month of February.
History Month, of course, is an important celebration of Blackness and the Black Canadians who have made a significant contribution to our society. But I think it's also a moment for us to really consider and reflect on the structural inequities that exist in our society and how Black Canadians have been excluded and how their voices have been excluded. And I think Black History Month is a great way to be a catalyst in helping to remediate a lot of those inequalities.
What is Black History Month and why do we have it? Well, sit back because Newsround has got you covered. It was originally founded to recognize the contributions that people of African and Caribbean backgrounds have made to the UK over many generations. Some people believe that the stories of Black people have not always been told and can sometimes be overlooked. So, it was started by a Black man born in the US in 1875 named Carter G. Woodson. Now, he studied history throughout his life and worked hard to promote Black history in schools. Now, he created Black History Week, which turned into Black History Month. Now, in the US, it's in February, but in the UK, it's in October. Now, there's many ways people celebrate, like holding events at schools or raising money for charity and going to film screenings. So, how do you celebrate it?
Where did Black History Month come from? Well, it goes back to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who's considered the father of African American history. And side note, Dr. Woodson is actually the second African American to get a PhD from Harvard University after W.E.B. Du Bois. In 1925, Dr. Woodson started Negro History Week. This was to encourage the coordinated teaching of African American history in public schools. And in 1926, they made the week-long celebration official. They picked the month of February because it coincides with the birthdays of Abraham Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. President Abraham Lincoln was influential in the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. And Frederick Douglass was born into enslavement but escaped to freedom. He became a prominent speaker in the abolitionist movement that fought for the end of slavery in the U.S. So Dr. Woodson and other scholars brought the History Week to HBCUs. And throughout the 1960s and the Civil Rights Movement, they helped create a month-long celebration. And on February 10th, 1976, President Ford became the first president to recognize Black History Month. In the message, President Ford called upon the public to, quote, seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And in 1986, Congress passed the law designating February as National African American History Month. So happy Black History Month, y'all.
And sometimes you just got to tell people it's a black thing you wouldn't understand.
Yeah. You wouldn't get
it. It don't need an explanation.
It don't need no explanation. And it actually should be gate kept. I think a lot of our culture should be kept close to us because, you know, white people, they keep whatever they want to keep close to them is kept very close to them. There's a lot of shit that's kept away from us. And I feel like we should have the same pride and integrity about our culture. And it's not about being exclusionary. It's just showcasing a level of pride and reverence and respect for what's been put in place.
Black history isn't just for Black people. It's for everyone because Black history is history. We can't just teach history based on national borders. We live in a globalized world. And as much as teaching Black history to Black people gives them a sense of identity and pride, teaching Black history to everyone, regardless of race or ethnicity, allows for a more balanced and well-rounded point of view. It creates an inclusive view of history. It's about teaching the truth, the whole truth. We can't only learn about abolitionists such as William Wilberforce, but neglect to talk about people such as Elado Equiano. We can't just learn about Churchill and neglect the African and Caribbean soldiers who fought on behalf of this country in World War II. Black history is British history. It transcends national borders. Britain's involvement and interactions with the empire reinforces that. Before we can even mention the wave of Black immigrants to Britain post-World War II to help rebuild this country, we have to talk about how we've been contributing to this country before we even stepped foot here. Think about the sugarcane plantations in Jamaica and Barbados and how that's affected Britain's economy. Think about the cocoa bean plants in Ghana and Nigeria. Is that not British history? It's not just a side topic or an optional module. And that's why the Black curriculum is pushing for Black history to be taught in the national curriculum for all students, irrespective of their race or ethnicity.
Happy Black History Month, and in honor of Black History Month, I'm going to share with you a Black history fact. Did you know that the first Black person to ever win an Oscar was Miss Hattie McDaniel? In 1940, Hattie won Best Supporting Actress for her role as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. While Sidney Poitier did win Best Leading Actor in 1964 for his role in Lilies of the Field and Denzel Washington in 2001 for Training Day, we wouldn't see a Black woman win Best Leading Actress until 2002 when Halle Berry won for Monsters Ball. 23 years later, Halle Berry is still the only Black woman to have won Best Leading Actress at the Oscars, but who knows, that might all change this year.
Black History Month starts now. Yes, January 28th. Because who said you had to wait until February 1st? Go ahead and get your whole 30 days in. Because let's be real, Black History is 365. We just go a little bit harder this month. And for those that are trying to get rid of Black History Month, understand that Black History Month only exists because our history wasn't being taught when it should have been. Black history is American history. But take this time to learn Black history beyond your own country's borders. Because we're not just in textbooks. We're in every corner of this world. And so is our history. Black history is global. Black history is now.
Did you know that Black History Month has a different theme each year? And this has been going on since 1928. When historian Carter G. Woodson established Negro History Week in 1926, he realized that he needed a theme to keep everyone's attention. Cause boy do we get distracted. So his organization, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, chooses the theme every year. According to the organization, the themes are supposed to reflect changes in how people of African descent in the United States view themselves. Last year's theme was about Black resistance, and this year's theme is African Americans and the arts. For centuries, all throughout history, our contributions to the arts has been watered down, rejected, or stolen, and then sold back to us with a new bow. Which is very fitting after watching the Grammys and realizing how many Black artists don't receive their flowers or recognition until way later in the game, if at all. This year's theme is highlighting how our suffering actually gave birth to so much art, from Negro spirituals to Black Renaissance to hip-hop and even Afrofuturism, all using art as a platform to spark social change and inspire us to keep going. So keep listening to your favorite artists, your favorite poets. Better yet, drop some in the comments to give them their flowers. Happy Black History Month.
Congratulations for everybody that has made it with me to the end of January on this political journey. Every single one of you matter. Every single one of you have made a difference. If you have not, follow now, because I am leading Black History Month, whether they like it or not. I am the most outspoken and blunt person on this app when it comes to Black history, when it comes to slavery, when it comes to the revolution, past, present, and future. There's nobody that's going to say it how I'm going to say this. So therefore, Black History Month this month will not be 28 days. It will be all of February and half of March. Whether they like it or not, there is not enough time. 28 days is not enough days to process the pain in which they inflicted. Nobody asked them to inflict that pain. They decided to do it. 28 days isn't enough time to rejoice and sing of how far we've came, because we haven't come much far. So without that being said, Black History Month starts February 1st and shall carry out until we're finished with it in March. So if we take 2 months, so what? If we take 3, so what? In my opinion, it should be every single motherfucking day, because America, this world, doesn't run without the color melanin, without the people melanin, without the ideas melanin, without the voice melanin. The world doesn't thrive, past, present, or future, without melanin.
Happy Black History Month. Let's dive into the history. Black History Month started as Negro History Week in 1926. Historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History picked the date for Negro History Week in February because it coincided with Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. The first Negro History Week was met with lukewarm response, but departments of education in a few states and cities agreed to integrate it into their curriculum, which was critical for it developing. Woodson believed that teaching Black history to everyone, not just Black people, was essential. Fast forward to 1970, we're at Kent State University, and Black students there begin celebrating Black history for the entire month. By 1976, President Gerald Ford recognizes Black history as a month, urging Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. What started out as a week in the 1920s by a Black historian with a vision is now a globally recognized month celebrated all over the world. Thanks for watching. Happy Black History Month.
Black History Month was created to focus attention on the contributions of African Americans in the United States. It honors all Black people from all periods of U.S. history, from the enslaved people brought over from Africa to the African Americans who live in the U.S. now. It's an honor to our ancestors as Black people to remember what they went through in America and how they still persevered and accomplished so many amazing things while being held back, being treated unfairly, unable to read or write, and given unfair resources. It emphasizes the influence of Black culture on America, from the way people speak, to beauty, to mannerisms, to dance, to art, to literature, and even politics. It highlights how you can go from being made fun of on TV to winning awards on TV. From Black businesses being burned down to having entrepreneurial billionaires. From athletes being treated unequally to having athletes break all-time records. Black History Month has made a difference. It's promoted Black excellence, and it's made Black people proud all around the world.
It's only the 4th day of Black History Month, y'all, and I'm already pissed. Let's talk about this article. This is from Bloomberg, y'all. It will take Black Americans 320 years to catch up to white neighbors. It will take more than 3 centuries for Black Americans to achieve the same quality of life as their white neighbors, after the racial gap widened in more than half the country in the past decade. The 320 years is in rural counties like in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and in more urban areas like New York and San Francisco, it's around 160 years. Only 48% of U.S. counties reduced the racial gap in the past decade. No U.S. county with a significant Black population has achieved parity, and the 37 that are close to it house just 0.1% of the total U.S. Black population. The study assumes that results for white residents will remain at today's levels, but notes that those estimates are conservative because their conditions are likely to improve over time. So we're seeing the quality of life decreasing for Black people in this country and the quality of life improving for white people in this country. Noted. They analyzed 25 metrics related to the quality of life, including rates of poverty and food insecurity, job opportunities, life expectancy, and the incarceration rate across the U.S. from megacities to rural areas. And the report highlights that a number of solutions can be used to help bridge the gap, including affordable housing in mixed income areas, health insurance for U.S. residents without coverage, and the expansion of high quality early education programs. I'm upset for so many reasons. Obviously, the first is the fact that gap even exists, period. But also, like, during our month of Black History Month, how could you come so close but be so far? In this article, obviously the article is reporting on what's actually in that results from McKinsey, and I'm going to go and actually read that to try to see what they say. But the fact that slavery, Jim Crow, discrimination, like, how is that not mentioned in the article as the cause for this gap? Like, how can you talk about a symptom but not talk about the cause of the symptom? And it's just so crazy to me because, like, okay, we've made some progress in the sense that, like, for many years they would have never made an article like this. But now you know what the issue is and you're not actually doing anything to solve the problem. And to me, that's worse than saying we're just going to ignore it, period. Because you know what's going on. But now what's the next step? Like, let's stop talking about it and let's start actually doing them actions and not just acknowledging the fact that we know that these things will improve people's lives, but actually doing the things to improve people's lives.
What's going on, everybody? February is Black History Month. So how did February become the month for Black history? Well, it started with Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson was a historian, an African-American historian. And he started what was called Negro Week. Then it eventually became Black History Month. The reason why he chose February was because of two people, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthday fall on February. All right? That was one of the reasons why he chose it. So don't let anybody fool you, or don't let anybody discourage you when they say that we don't have a reason to celebrate Black History Month. Yes, Black history is 365 days a year. However, this is like a jubilee for the African descended people, not only here in America, but throughout the diaspora. Okay? Pardon me. So that's why we celebrate it. It's a jubilee. It's like a big celebration for us. It's to celebrate and it's to honor and commemorate our ancestors. Not just those who passed, but also we honor those African American, those in the African diaspora who are still here today. Okay? Who are making the history, who are making the difference. That's why we celebrate it. Black history is 365 days a year, but this is a jubilee. And we're going to treat it as such. And Carter G. Woodson was, when it came to Black history, he was that individual. He was big on it. If you guys have not checked out his work, he has a book called The Education of the Negro and the Miseducation of the Negro. Check out those two books. And he has other books as well. But his main objective was to educate his people, to make sure his people get accurate information about their history and about their ancestors. So let's give credit to that brother, and let's give credit to others who have done a lot of work for our people as far as our history is concerned. It's a list of Black educators and Black historians who don't receive enough credit. So let's make this time to actually study, learn, and be proud of who we are. Because we have been dealing with so much hate for so long. We have been told that we were too inferior, that we had nothing to offer. And history will show that that's a complete lie. Yes, there's our people out here who are rebellious, who have behavior problems, etc., right? But there are those of our people who are actually making a difference. And also, let me get to why I say that when we deal with history, we got to deal with the good, bad, and ugly. Because, see, we cannot just be biased and just look at the bad part of history and ignore the good part. Or we can't just look at the good part and ignore the bad part. And we can't just ignore the ugly either. Because everything about history is not always good, not always bad, or not always ugly. It's all three. And I want to give y'all something. And shout out to the nation of gods and earth. So the supreme mathematics today is culture. It's February the 4th. So it's culture. Culture is essential for our community and for our people. To have a culture is to have a foundation, principle, ideology, community. That's what it means to have a culture.
The summer of 1919 marked the worst year of racial violence against black people since the days of enslavement in the U.S. So much blood was shed that the poet and activist James Weldon Johnson coined it the Red Summer. I'm Dara Star Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. Both black and white soldiers were returning from having served overseas in World War I. Since 1910, there had been a mass exodus of over 1 million black people from the South. They were escaping the humiliation of Jim Crow segregation and the lack of job opportunities. When white soldiers returned from service, they were dismayed to find that black workers had been hired for many of the factory jobs that they had once held. The economy was in pretty bad shape, and they found themselves competing with black people for adequate housing as well. The newly reestablished Klan was also making a show of itself, conducting a record number of lynchings, the victims of which were overwhelmingly black. All of those factors came together to make a perfect storm of resentment, economic insecurity, white supremacy, and fear. The newly established NAACP was helping to bring a sense of organization and legitimacy to the struggle for black liberation and equality. This generation of African Americans had aspirations of advancement in a society that fought them at every turn. They lovingly dubbed themselves the New Negroes to indicate that they intended to establish new ground rules for how they were to be treated in society. Incidents of white violence began to break out in cities all over the North and Midwest. American textbooks have problematically termed these incidents as race riots, when in reality they were exhibitions of white rage in response to black advancement. If black people were perceived to exercise any sense of agency, they were reminded, often violently, to stay in their place. Black veterans wearing their military uniforms in public, black children swimming in the white section of Lake Michigan, rumors of black men making advances towards white women, black sharecroppers in Arkansas organizing for better wages and working conditions, all were taken by whites as an indication that black people were overstepping their bounds and needed to be chastised. Charleston, South Carolina, Longview, Texas, Bisbee, Arizona, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, Knoxville, Tennessee, Omaha, Nebraska, and Elaine, Arkansas all became cauldrons of racial hate in the Red Summer of 1919. Hundreds of people, mostly black, lost their lives in these skirmishes. Because law enforcement often turned a blind eye to these attacks and in many cases facilitated them, black communities began to organize to defend themselves. The 20 so-called race riots in the Red Summer of 1919 were characterized by strong, organized black resistance to white violence. Black people were dying, but they were fighting back. Most textbooks in the U.S. devote about one paragraph to these violent attacks. Rather than using accurate terms like racism, white mob violence, and white supremacist attacks, you'll see terms like racial unrest and racial violence and race riots, the implication being that both sides bore equal responsibility for the violence. But in nearly every instance, black people were counterattacking. They were defending themselves. They were fighting back. That generation of new Negroes laid the foundation for the struggle for black agency, black resistance, and black rebellion that would come to define the modern civil rights movement.
It is still Black History Month, so if you're a black person that deals with anxiety, imposter syndrome, or self-sabotage, stop scrolling. Our ancestors studied nature more than anything else on this planet. When it rains and there is a destructive flood, First thing the ants ensure is that the children and the women survive so their generation continues. See, when survival becomes the only desire, there is a version of you that you invent in order to protect who you truly are. After survival, however, these versions of yourself that you invented in order to survive starts to feel afraid when they sense that you're preparing to jump from the survival zone into the thriving energy because they have never been there before. Our ancestors had never seen the possibility of this world that we are building for ourselves today for over 500 years. The modern world and our future is new territory for most parts of your DNA as a black person. All our ancestors knew for the longest time was war, running, protecting, escaping, war, running, protecting, escaping, repeat. But look at us today, creating spaces, black businesses. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So it's only normal that so many black youths are dealing with anxiety, fears of self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. See, those voices that come whispering in your head that you're not good enough, you're gonna fail, are the exact same voices that protected your ancestors from being visible to the slave master. These were the same voices that prevented a lot of Africans from being captured into slavery. Because the slave master wanted the best, the most intelligent, the most strong, the most talented. They wanted to molest the most beautiful. So your African mom, as you call them, had to step up and work on your esteem this way to protect you from the slave master. And that protection was passed on from parents to offsprings for centuries until it became the state of normalcy. Today you still hear the African mom voices deep in your DNA because they still think they are protecting you. The survival mechanisms that you invented when you needed to survive will no longer serve you when you need to thrive, hence the need to break the generational cycles. It's upon you as a black person to look these voices in your head straight in the eye whenever they show up and tell them, it's okay, we are safe now. I can protect myself now. Let's prioritize creating spaces for these voices to feel safe instead of taking pills to shut them up.
Have you ever wondered why Black History Month was in February? Have you ever thought to yourself America was just being petty and gave us the shortest month of the year? Well, here's the truth. Black History Month was originally Black History Week. It was started by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Dr. Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week because black youth were not being taught their true history in elementary and secondary schools. Originally only celebrated during the second week of February, Dr. Woodson chose that month because Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington celebrated their birthdays during February, and at the time, the most important events concerning the black race occurred during that month. And with the support of President Gerald Ford, Black History Week officially became Black History Month in 1976. Black Lives Matter, y'all, all year.
February is Black History Month, and what does it mean? Well, Black History Month is a month to recognize the achievements of Black Americans. And of course, a reminder to look at where systematic racism still takes place and give a round of applause to the people that are trying to make a change. Now, this video isn't going to be in regards to the amazing Black artists, Black creators, Black business owners in your local area or in your area, but I am going to be talking about what we see in the insurance side with our Black Americans. Now, according to the 2022 Insurance Barometer study, Black Americans know the importance of life insurance in protecting their loved ones, with 68% of Black Americans who own life insurance reporting feeling financially secure, compared with just 47% of uninsured Black Americans, and 55% of Black Americans reported that they own life insurance, which is higher than the national average of 50%. The study also showed that the intent to purchase life insurance was 60% for Black Americans, but only 37% for the general population. Now, according to this post, there's a number of reasons why insurance is an issue for a Black American community. For one, we mentioned the wealth gap. The average income for a Black American household was $60,276, and that was in 2020, according to the Census Bureau, compared with the $86,770 for white Americans. Now, there's also a misconception about insurance with the focus on the insurance as a vehicle to cover just burial expenses alone, instead of the other benefits that life insurance or other types of insurance has to offer. According to that same Barometer study, the top reason Black Americans gave for not purchasing coverage is that it's too expensive. But 75% of Black Americans overestimated the cost of life insurance threefold. In addition, 6 in 10 say that they don't know what to buy or how much they need, and 41% said they don't think they would qualify for coverage. I hope that I can bring my expertise and some information, education to any Black American who may feel like they fall into these categories of not knowing what to buy or how much coverage they need or how to use the benefits of life insurance past just the burial cost. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Black History Month and February, and please feel free to reach out to me if you had any questions.
My friend Mark from Blurredography asked us, what does Black History Month mean to you? And baby, I have answers. Black History Month means finding out yet again at your big age of 30 or 40 that Black people actually invented something that you did not know we invented that is so beneficial to America that you don't know how we functioned before. Folding chairs, elevator doors, potato chips. Black History Month means finding out that you and 41 million other people grew up the same. Y'all all had that green and red blanket that was ashy for some reason. Y'all all had those glass water cups with the diamonds in them that made juice taste better for some reason. Y'all all can look at this picture, know that it's not real fruit, but know that it still has a smell. It means you're gonna see some memes that are really funny and some memes that shouldn't be funny, but that you low-key laugh at anyway. Like this one. They sending her to the back on Microsoft. It means any Black History Month themed food in stores or theme parks is gonna be delicious. It means that corporate America is gonna get performative. It can also mean that if you are Black on that corporate team and running that campaign, that you kill it because you can finally be your petty self and say, let me school y'all on some shit real quick. But overall to me, Black History Month just means keep on keeping on, because those before you did it so that you can get to where you are now. And now that we're in a position to do it, I'm gonna make sure the next generation is good.
Hi, this is Faith in Literacy. And if you are a classroom teacher, a homeschooling educator, or a parent, and it is February, that means it's Black History Month. So don't go anywhere, because I'm going to be talking to you about how you can teach Black history during Black History Month to young learners. Now, Black History Month is a time to honor and to celebrate the contributions, the resilience, as well as the accomplishments of not only Black Americans, but just Black people in history. So just to give a little background of what Black History Month is. Well, Black History Month actually started out as Negro History Week in 1926 and was founded by historian Carter G. Woodson. It was created to highlight certain contributions and achievements of many Black Americans. Now, by 1976, it was expanded to a whole month. Now, February was chosen because it coincided with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And today it serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding and appreciating the roles of Black individuals in shaping history. So, why teach Black history to young learners? Well, one, it's going to help to build empathy and understanding. Introducing Black history helps young learners to understand different perspectives and to build empathy. Early exposure also fosters respect for diversity as well as cultural differences. It's also going to help to celebrate various contributions. By highlighting the accomplishments of Black inventors, leaders, artists, and teachers, it's going to teach students that people from all backgrounds have helped to shape this world. And of course, it's going to encourage critical thinking. Discussing history helps students to develop critical thinking skills by asking questions, by comparing perspectives, as well as drawing conclusions. Now, when you are teaching Black history, what are some key topics that you should teach? Well, one, you want to look at notable historical figures. And of course, we have the trifecta, as I call it, which is Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks. But we can go beyond the trifecta of those wonderful historians. Consider introducing students to some lesser known yet highly influential individuals, like Bessie Coleman, who was the first Black woman to earn a pilot's license, or Benjamin Banneker, who was a self-taught mathematician, astronomer, and writer who helped design Washington, D.C. How about Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first self-made female millionaire here in the United States? Or how about Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a leader in the fight of voting rights for Black Americans in the 1960s? Now, you also want to broach the topic of various historical events, like the Civil Rights Movement. You want to go beyond Martin Luther King Jr. and explore local movements and grassroots efforts. Or how about introducing kids to Black Wall Street, the thriving Black community and business district in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Or what about the Reconstruction era, the challenges and the progress made during post-Civil War period? And of course, you want to focus on various cultural contributions. Think about Black contribution to music, from gospel to jazz to blues and rock and roll. How about the origins and impact of Black dance styles like the Lindy Hop or even hip hop? Or Black culinary traditions and its influence in American cuisine. Now, some tips in celebrating and teaching Black history for classroom teachers. You want to highlight local figures, research and teach about influential Black individuals that are in your state or your region. You want to make sure that you're using primary sources. Introduce students to historical documents, letters, and even speeches. And of course, incorporate art and music. Allow students to experience history through creative mediums. Now, if you are an educational specialist, like a reading or a literacy specialist, you want to focus on representation through books that reflect diverse Black experiences, or encourage inquiry. Use open-ended questions to prompt discussion about historical events and figures. And for parents and homeschooling educators, create family projects. Work on a scrapbook or a presentation about a Black historical figure as a family. Explore genealogy. Discuss the importance of family history and encourage children to learn about their own roots. And of course, highlight those local Black figures in your community. Research and teach children about those influential Black individuals that are from your own city or state. So I hope this was helpful.
Y'all, just coming through right quick. Listen, y'all, it is February the 1st and it is Black History Month. Yay! Yay! This is the month that we pour so much into our Black history, our Black culture. Everything is Black. Blackity, 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 black. Listen, y'all. I love the month of February. I love celebrating my Black history because it is so, so important. We know that Black history did not start with slavery, right? We know that. And it most definitely did not end with civil rights. We already know, we can see in 2026 now that it did not end with civil rights. So y'all, we have been so pivotal in all matters of life, in all walks of life. Black people have been there, starting things, creating things, founding things forever. This is nothing new, y'all. As Black people, they came into the United States. They was brought here. Okay. No matter what they're saying, go do your own research. They was brought here and they have learned how to live, how to do things in the United States on their own. Because, you know, back then they couldn't even read. They wouldn't even allow them to learn the language and do what they need to do. They had to figure it out. Okay, that's why people of color can make things happen for themselves, y'all. We was innovative, y'all, even in music, medicine, and law, in global cultures and things like that. We were high in science. We shape these things, y'all. Black history is the foundation of the United States. If you don't believe me, follow me for more. Let me know what you think.
Every February, without fail, I hear this question. Why isn't there a White History Month? So let's break it down. The short answer is white history is already everywhere. It's what most Americans grew up learning in school, seeing in movies, and reading about in books. Most of the population is white, and as the dominant culture, white societies tend to center their own stories, often without even realizing it. Black history, on the other hand, has often been left out, and not just in classrooms, but in culture more broadly. For many Americans, parts of that history, especially around racism and slavery, are uncomfortable and often avoided rather than highlighted. And that creates a cycle. If people don't hear these stories, they don't get taught, written about, or passed down. That's why in 1926, Negro History Week was created by historian Carter G. Woodson. The goal was simple: make sure these stories were taught at all. Over time, that week became Black History Month and was officially recognized in the US in 1976. And today, as debates continue around how race and history are taught in schools, Black History Month still exists for the same reason it always has: to preserve stories that were once excluded. What do you think?
Okay, Black History Month starts tomorrow, and I'm not tolerating no bullshit regarding my predecessors, my ancestors, or anybody black for that matter. If I catch anybody of any descent, I don't give a fuck if you're black on the outside and present as white on the inside. Slandering of any sort, expect for me to be in your comments talking shit. If you're coming on any platform, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, I beg you this month to come correct. I'm celebrating Black excellence, our resilience, and our history, and I'm not debating it. I promise. I dare you to make any content that got any type of misinformation or disrespect in it. You will get my attention, and you will not like it. I swear to God. Understand this. This isn't just a month for us, it's a legacy for us. And the world should be grateful that we give y'all a month publicly, because for those of us who are actually black, we're black 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we can't turn it off and then turn it back on and turn it off. We have to live with that every day. If history makes you uncomfortable, could you imagine living through it? And while you're watching, I want you to remember, our culture is not a trend, and let this be the month you listen more than you speak. I might just take time this month to stitch and duet all your videos just so my friends on my page can see your stupidity firsthand. I have built my algorithm brick by brick, and when I say that you will be dealt with, trust me. Just trust me on that.
And I know one thing. January has been very loud. February, we only get 28 days. And when I say we, I mean we. February better be a very quiet month. Okay, y'all better be on your best behavior for the month of February. We get the shortest month already. Let us just enjoy it in peace. Period.
This year, we celebrate 100 years of Black History Month. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, known as the father of Black history, established Negro History Week in February 1926 to highlight the overlooked contributions of Black people. In 1976, Negro History Week turned into Black History Month and stands as a living record, powerful, enduring, and undeniable. In law, one of my favorite principles is res ipsa loquitur. It means the thing speaks for itself. When the evidence is clear, no explanation is needed. Black history speaks for itself. Our resilience speaks. Our brilliance speaks. Our excellence speaks. Our perseverance speaks. And this month is not about proving worth. It's about celebrating truth. The record reflects courage, creativity, leadership, and joy passed down through generations and still rising today. So stand tall, celebrate boldly, and let your life continue to add to this record. Because the evidence is strong, the legacy is rich, and the future is bright. 100 years of Black History Month. Because of them, we rise. Happy Black History.
It's Black History Month tomorrow. It is Black History what? Black History Month tomorrow. Let's get into the details. DJs, you're the most important. All the sounds, give me my guts. Oh, I know it's crazy, but the point is to spread the message. Watch this. I need y'all to find songs that they used to play during Jim Crow, songs they used to play during slavery. Remix those songs into today's songs. Go crazy. All month long, go crazy. I'm testing y'all artistry. We are black people. How you black and you ain't got no artistry? Push that craft, do your research, find them songs, and match them into today's songs. Blow our mind. To all my singer, songwriters, and rappers, make sure you have that Black History Month rap, Black History Month freestyle dropping February 2nd, February 3rd, no later than the 8th, okay? Okay, get in that studio, write them bars, push your pen. You have to be able to translate the message to people that may not be able to hear by just talking. They may not hear a beat in the background. Converse, show us your capability, show us your artistry, show us your pen game. If you can really push that pen, if you can really sing, resonate that with your community. For all of my poets, for all of my authors, for all of my writers, write some really good think pieces, write some really good poems, write some really good books, some quick articles that us as content creators can post and share. If every single person, every single black person works together in this month, who knows what we can do in 28 days? Who knows what we can do in 28 days? As long as we follow our hearts and not look for money. We're not doing it for greed. We're not doing it for something in exchange. We're doing it from the kindness of our heart. It will boost the overall morality. My content conspiracists, my content researchers, anybody like me, your job is to spread a fact every single day of the month about something having to do with slavery, black people, or Jim Crow, segregation. If every single person on this app does their job on spreading a fact that nobody knows, altogether, we will be able to learn so much about our history in 1 month. They are not teaching us black history in school. So we must do our jobs as content creators to teach those who cannot be taught. My black businesses, this is your time to shine. If you are a small black business owner and you know a black creator that is in your city or anywhere in the US that you want to work with, reach out to them. Reach out to the emails in their bios. Every black content creator that just doesn't do anything but post or dance or anything, they should be promoting black businesses for free in this month. So if you just come up in here to do a little two-step, a little dance, a Liberian girl, yeah. You could post a little 1-2 and tell them to click the link in your bio or anything. Because guess what? There is no interest when we're helping our own. Take a book from the Israel people. If every single black person has the mentality of helping another black person just out of the kindness of their heart for any given reason, that means in your everyday life, when you're a content creator, no matter what you're doing, if you're a worker, if every single person does their job in making a black person feel special in this month, all together, we will symbolically unify. No matter if we are in the same frequency or not, we will all symbolically unite because we are all giving back to each other. We are all spreading that positivity message and we're all vibrating at higher frequencies. Black History Month, I'm excited to be here with y'all.
Black History Month, it wasn't created just to celebrate black people. It was also created to correct what America tried to erase. And if you don't understand Carter G. Woodson, then I understand why Black History Month is shallow to you. Because if you understand Carter G. Woodson, you'll know exactly why Black History Month exists. Now, Carter G. Woodson, he didn't believe that black people lacked history. He understood that we were cut out of it. And that's why he introduced Negro History Week in 1926. He didn't do it as a celebration. He did it as an intervention. Not to know what one's race has done is to continue as a child. Now, when Dr. Woodson said that, it wasn't supposed to be an insult. That was just a diagnosis. Woodson argued that miseducation trained black people to see themselves through white approval, accept inferiority as normal, and finally, to believe that oppression was accidental and not designed. He wasn't just criticizing schools. He was exposing a system. Dr. Woodson understood that history was not neutral, that it was power. And Negro History Week was never meant to stay 1 week. It was meant to restore agency, reconnect people to collective memory, and challenge lies that was thought to be fact. Black History Month exists because of people without history, they could be controlled. So going into Black History Month 2026, don't ask who could be celebrated. Ask what knowledge is being restored. What systems are being...
Happy Black History Month to you all. Black History Month isn't something you switch on in February and switch off in March. For many black people, actually, history doesn't live on a calendar, it's lived every single day. So when people say a month isn't enough, I actually agree, but not in the way that, many of them think. It's not short because black history may need more time, no. It's short because black history is everyday life. February isn't history itself. It's a moment to pause, it's a moment to reflect and be intentional about it. And that's where we have to acknowledge, how just visionary Carter G. Woodson was. This wasn't about limiting black history to 4 weeks, actually a week long in 1926. It was about forcing conversations that were being ignored entirely. Before him, black contributions were erased, they were dismissed or rewritten. What he did was revolutionary. He created spaces where none existed. Now the question becomes, what do we actually do with this month? Because posting a quote once a year isn't enough, folks. History Month can look like a lot of things. Learning beyond surface level narratives, supporting black-owned businesses, amplifying black voices and ideas, and yes, supporting black creators who are doing the right work. Now, if you're watching this, subscribing, engaging and sharing content like this is one real practical way to honor this month. These conversations don't sustain themselves, the people do. And let me be clear about something. This isn't about gatekeeping as somebody suggested in the videos. Black history isn't a private club. It's human history. Everyone needs to know about it, learn it, engage with it. And as you may know, education isn't something you protect by, hiding. You protect it by spreading it correctly. While at it, let's kill yet another myth. Black history doesn't begin with slavery. Slavery is a chapter, yes, a brutal one, but it's not the opening line. Our story didn't begin in chains, and it doesn't end there either. And finally, this is also important. Let's keep the energy right. This is not the time for division, purity tests, and arguing about who is black enough. Black History Month is about unity, not delineation. It's not just for black Americans, it's for all black people across the globe, connected by shared history, struggle, and resilience. So let's reflect, let's learn, let's support one another, let's move forward with purpose, not just this month, but every other day. So thank you for watching to this very point. If you found value in our content, consider subscribing, sharing, and liking. I'll see you guys in my next video. And as I said before, this whole month we're focusing on content relating to the Black History Month. I'll see you guys in my next.